All right. Welcome back to another full 16-week semester at University of the Cumberlands. I'm Don Walker, your instructor for data science and big data analytics. And just going to introduce the course this morning and go over the um, week one to-do list. Make sure we get going on the right footing. Okay. So I'll introduce myself and the course itself, the assignments. I want to make a special note about academic honesty. It's the really the most important factor I look for, more than experience or intelligence or anything, is originality and academic honesty and being real in the course. So I'll go over my more detailed expectations and then we will conclude. So, like I said, I'm Don Walker. Currently live in Arkansas. I'm a retired Air Force officer, so I've been all around the world. But um, I married my wife. She's from Arkansas in 1984, and I think we always knew eventually we would settle down here. So after a long 30-year career in the military, settled down in Central Arkansas a few years ago. So my background, work-wise, I started out in electronics as an actual, electronics technician working on aircraft. But after 6 years in 1988, I retrained out of electronics maintenance and into computer programming. So for about 6 years, I was developing mostly Oracle database applications. I did some general purpose utility programming as well. But most of that 6 years was developing in Oracle, including a nationwide application I developed for the Air Force's recruiting service to be able to get off of typewriters and carbon paper forms and actually start entering data into a database application. Of course, this was 30 years ago, so old tech. In the mid 90s, the internet blew up. Um, I moved over towards the networking side of things and got a master's in telecommunications. But most of my professional experience was really in enterprise level information systems and systems integration, information management, knowledge management, enterprise social media, those sorts of things. But I've also been in academia and training and education for some years now. I think I first started as an adjunct faculty at the university level in '05. I've taken a lot of online classes and I've taught a lot of online classes, and I know it's challenging, but for a lot of people, you probably wouldn't be able to finish the degree or whatever if you were forced to go to a traditional classroom. So it's a good opportunity, but it does require a special skill set to make the most of it. I'm currently in the training and education world. I'm adjunct faculty for a couple of classes. I teach a couple classes, and then my main I'm semi-retired. I'm a 30-year military retiree, but I work half-time for a nonprofit, working with employers and setting up training for people that are in apprenticeships for IT. These are cybersecurity analysts, data analysts, software developers, full stack developers, mainframe developers, um, just IT support folks. But my nonprofit in Arkansas is charged with addressing the skills gap and getting folks that want to be in IT the training and work experience they need to flourish. So I really enjoy that. My education, I had a management information systems undergraduate. I didn't graduate, non-traditional student. I didn't graduate with my bachelor's till I was 30. Took me another 6, 8 years to get my master's in telecommunications from Southern Methodist University. And then I've got my doctorate in computer science with a concentration in enterprise information systems in 2019. My dissertation research area was in enterprise social media, like Yammer and Slack and uh, SharePoint, things like that, as a method for minimizing knowledge loss as employees turnover. And in the military, we have a high turnover by design. So that was an interesting project, qualitative research project I did for my dissertation. Finished that up in a few years ago now, through 2019. Nothing's changed, by the way. So uh, it's job security. So about me, my character, I'm helpful. I'm honest. I'll give you perhaps more honest feedback than you are used to or you would like to hear, depending on how you're doing. I'm very energetic, hardworking. I'm precise. I think that's my software engineering background, as I choose my words carefully. I'm friendly. I've got friends all over the world that I treasure, and I've been in a position of public trust my entire adult life. So I think that might be going back to the academic honesty thing. You guys need to realize who you are dealing with. I don't tolerate even the slightest attempt at passing off other people's work as your own. And we'll see how this semester goes. Hopefully, it'll be uh, a change. But I am not particularly understanding or sympathetic. I don't give extra credit. I don't allow late assignments. I don't allow do-overs. Um, I don't understand or forgive um, plagiarism or just kind of fake anything, fake references, APA references and citations. Just no tolerance for it. So that's me. That's who I am and how I roll. Okay, so straight out of the syllabus, um, it's big data. Uh, so pretty self-explanatory. Big data fundamentals, management. But remember, you're in a PhD course, so you really only learn enough about a topic at this level to be able to recognize research opportunities in previous research that's happened. So if you were thinking you were going to get a crash course in Hadoop or something like that, it's not in there. There's on it during any given semester, there are 8 or 10 sections of this course being taught, and all the instructors are on a fairly tight leash when it comes to the topics and what we will learn. I'll drop in some supplemental stuff, but remember, this whole program is for you to prepare yourself to be a researcher. I don't know if every instructor necessarily hammers that point home. But you're not in a PhD program isn't another master's degree. It's focused on conducting and reporting the results of research and expanding the body of knowledge. There you go. So in that vein, you will see virtually every week videos, mostly from Dr. Brown, who's my boss at the university. He's our program chair. Dr. Stephen Brown will post um, videos and links and resources and whatnot that is generic to the pursuit of a PhD. And the big test of that is finishing your dissertation. So you'll see a lot of supplemental stuff that you really need to pay. There's no assignment due. It's just something you can watch offline, or maybe while you're not necessarily taking detailed notes, but it's information that you need to consume. And then you'll see half this course has got blockchain in it, even though it's not in the course description or any of the course objectives. So there you go. We'll switch over to blockchain. I'm not a blockchain expert, not a blockchain user, not a blockchain developer, not even a blockchain advocate. So we'll cover the material, and that'll be that. I'm sort of a blockchain doubter. I just really don't know that the technology is anything more than a fad, as far as any other applications beyond cryptocurrency. And even that, yeah, I've got my doubts. So anyway, we'll cover it. We'll talk about it. So the assignments for this course are in the form of discussions, literature reviews, your residency weekend, which I'll go into in more detail as we approach it later in the semester, weeks later. And of course, your plagiarism pledge. That's how important it is to stop the tendency to cut and paste and use the abundant information out there on the internet as if it were your own. So I'll go into that a little bit here in just a minute. So remember, no late assignments and no do-overs. Okay. Get it right the first time. If you have questions, ask me before the assignment. But most of this stuff is pretty straightforward. And if you give it a good shot, and you write originally, and you write your own thoughts and your own paper, generally speaking, everybody does absolutely fine. It's historically, folks either generally get an A, high B, or an F in this course, and the only reason to get an F is to not turn in work or to turn in stuff that's plagiarized, which I'll talk about now in this next slide. Okay, so I get some students turning in stuff that is basically sentence for sentence, paragraph for paragraph, identical to a source, but they've changed a few words here and there, like synonyms, literally. That's still plagiarism. You need to write, construct things originally, and it can be done. I even had a student admit to me that they had pasted a paragraph from another work, and they were working on it. Oh, I'm still working on it. That's not how you write. That's not how you learn. That's not how you tell stories, which is what a dissertation is. It's a story about a research project. So do not do that. Okay. And then I've got an example in the next slide of an article spinner, and I will or a paraphrasing website that goes in and literally just substitutes synonyms for nouns and verbs, but it leaves the structure of the writing absolutely the same. And they're horrible. They do a horrible job of trying to reword something. It's awesome. It's awful. So first offense, this is university policy, is a 0 on the assignment. Second offense is a 0 for the course. And I'm told, I don't have visibility into what happens afterward or before this course, but I'm told third offense is you're dismissed from the program, which for some folks, that's a major financial blow. So write originally. This is simple. This is easy to prevent. Write originally. Don't cut and paste. Don't put anyone else's words. Don't look at someone else's typing or someone else's paper while you're typing, as if you're retyping it. The key is to learn enough about a subject such that you can discuss it conversationally in professional terms. And when you want to cite an example of what someone said, you find an example of that person making a major point. The sky is blue. And then you cite that person when you say that, for example, Smith, 2022, found the sky to be blue by using spectral imagery analysis, whatever the case may be. That's why you how you do citations. And I've got um, 2 videos to watch supplemental to this lecture that go into that. Writing for systems engineers and a demonstration of bibliographic software. So I look for, like I said, I look for authenticity and originality in the writing. And when I start seeing stuff that's not right, like citing a source that didn't have anything to do with what you're saying that person said, and occasionally I will email folks and say, "Hey, I don't understand this citation you just referred to. Can you tell me where in that work they made the point that you are reinforcing?" And I need an answer back to those. When I don't get an answer, it pretty much proves to me that it was a fake citation. You just stuck a citation in there to make it look like academic writing, which I just really, really can't tolerate. So there you go. Don't try to pass off something you found on the internet as your own. That's in your papers or in class discussion. If you want to talk about something, talk about it and post a link. Say, hey guys, I found a really good article on the whatever the veracity of the V of big data. Thought you guys might be able to use it, and then post the link. Don't pass off stuff as your own generically, and I won't hesitate to report it. So yeah, that unfortunately that's the biggest problem at Cumberland. So got to mention it. So here's an example I was telling you about. So none of you can legitimately ever say that you don't know what a paraphrasing website is, because I'm showing you. Okay, so this top paragraph is something I wrote, I don't know, during my doctorate. It's been so many years since I posted this. It's something I originally wrote, a paper, like looks like the abstract of a paper I wrote. So anyway, I wrote it in my own words, and as I do, and then I put it into paraphrasing-tool.com's rewording website. And I won't go into details here, but notice the first sentence I write. This paper reviews the literature focusing on a specific type of user group within the larger knowledge worker community. And I'm sure you guys, at the level you're at, you've heard of a user group and you've heard of a knowledge worker. I think we all qualify as knowledge workers, period, in one form or another. Okay, so those are industry standard terms, right? That everyone recognizes. But paraphrasing.com changed it to surveys the writing, which is not what we do. We do literature reviews. We don't do writing surveys. Okay. Concentrating on a particular sort of client bunch. That's what it thought was a reasonable substitution for user group. But no one has ever gone to, a Java client bunch. You might have attended a Java user group. I've been to several Oracle user group meetings, and conventions, but I've never been to an Oracle client bunch meeting. So there you go. That's my point, guys. And these things, they jump out at me. Sometimes I've seen people that admitted that they didn't use a paraphrasing website, but they found the paper on Course Hero, and that person had used the paraphrasing website. But I'm just telling you, this leaps off the page at me. It won't work. Don't try it. Don't do it. Hopefully, you're actually watching this video. So anyway, there you go. No plagiarism. Write your own stuff. Super easy. Super easy. Okay. Expectations for discussion boards. Please post by Thursday at midnight your response, which should have, a couple of references, but by Thursday night, that gives everyone a chance to read it, and then reply by Saturday night at midnight. Get your 2 replies in so that if somebody replies to you, you have a chance to say thank you, or if their Saturday evening reply to you had a question in it, please go in and, check the responses to your posts on Sunday, wrap things up, because first thing Monday morning, bam, people are off to the races on the next topic. So it does no good to try and go back and post anything late, because no one's going to read it and it doesn't do any good. So you got to keep up with these discussions. Absolutely. So yeah, reply by Thursday. Your response by Thursday, your replies to fellow students by Saturday night. And of course, same with plagiarism, as it is with papers. Even though it doesn't get run through Turnitin or SafeAssign, all you got to do is pull some words out and plug them into Google. If something sounds like it was pulled off of a source, it's very often easy enough to find it. So don't do it. Write your own writing, especially in discussion. This is supposed to be a discussion, not a fake bunch of blog stuff thrown at each other to fill a square. Okay, you're actually supposed to talk about these things. Okay, APA formatted reference, citations and references, of course. Use professional but personal language. So relate experience and opinions, and what you learned throughout the course of the week's reading. Relate that to each other, but don't lecture each other. In a paper, in academic writing, one normally avoids personal pronouns. You don't see a whole lot of academic articles where the author says, I found a group of participants and I gave them a survey. They'll either refer to themselves as the researcher or the researchers, or they'll just state the fact of whatever it is. And you avoid using personal pronouns in academic writing. But in a discussion, this is a discussion board, guys. You talk to each other. You should be writing to each other in the same tone and with the same level of interaction as you would, at work, talking about a technical topic with a colleague. Let that sink in. You wouldn't tell a colleague some simplistic nonsense that everybody knows, right? You wouldn't say that. You wouldn't give someone the basic definition of big data at work if you both work with big data. So don't do it in class discussion. Talk about your opinions, your experience, what you've learned, ask each other questions. But please don't just, fill the square by adding a few points. And I'll cover that in the, anyway, yeah. Please don't lecture each other. You'll see the post first feature is enabled, which means you normally won't see anything in the discussion board until you post your reply. And that's to encourage folks to post something originally. When that's turned off, I have seen people use other people's replies as their own response in the discussion board. So guys, if you see any of this nonsense, and you are all professionals, you can hold each other accountable in the discussion board. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you're welcome to bring it to my attention via email, and I'll take the appropriate action. Yeah, please, no nonsense. Everything will be fine. Okay. Here is an example of a unacceptable response. I say this every semester. I have sometimes I have success, sometimes I don't. Unacceptable. Greetings, colleague. Your post is full of wisdom, and you are obviously an expert. It was well organized and contained useful information that I appreciate. I want to add some points to your post. Blah, blah, blah. And then you just give a basic definition of something. Nothing personal, nothing. It's not no opinion, nothing that you know from work, nothing that you know from research. It's just lecture. Just bleh. Don't do that to each other. Don't lecture each other. Don't add a few points. Okay. I will occasionally refer you to this lecture if I see adding a few points. And so at some point, I just start saying, don't lecture your classmates, and you don't get credit for discussion. So don't lecture your classmates. Discuss with them, just like you would at work. You wouldn't tell someone a bunch of stuff that everybody knows, a bunch of basic stuff. Okay. You have a conversation. That's what these are. Okay. So you will never get in trouble in this course for not using academic language and writing like a PhD in your class discussions. Okay. So if somebody posts something to you that you think is shady, Google it. And if you find it out there, say, hey, in class discussion, I'm inviting you to hold each other accountable, just like you would in the public forum of academic research. If you post something out there in an academic article and it's later found to be plagiarized, somebody's going to call you on it. Your contact information, your name is right there on your work. So don't even try it. But again, if you're not comfortable holding each other accountable inside of the class discussion, you are welcome to email me. APA format. I'm more worried about content than format. For your dissertation, it needs to be flawless. But I mainly look for, double spacing, appropriate headings. For some reason, I see a lot of Cumberland students that have downloaded a paper that uses a colon and a left justified heading that isn't right. You won't find it in any APA guide, but there's obviously, I don't know if it's old papers or an old template paper that's wrong. But anyway, I think we're up to version 7 of APA. Give it a look. Like I said, I'm not super stringent when it comes to those rules. I do look for your references to be in APA format. And there's 2 ways to do that. You can use bibliographic software, which I demonstrate my favorite in the week 1 folder. EndNote, it's called. It integrates really well with Microsoft Word. There are others, and they will format your citations and references automatically and keep your reference page in order. So it's magic. Please watch those videos and use that if you can. Remember, all citations need a reference, and all references must be cited at least once. You'll see throughout the weeks a lot of examples of references and templates and whatnot. There's no need for full APA format in class discussion, beg your pardon. But if you cite an academic work, please use APA format. If it's just a website that you're saying somebody ought to read, and it's not your original response, especially, we want you to get practice in your initial response to the discussion question, using APA format. But if you're back and forthing with somebody on a topic and you just want to post something from whatever, Stack Overflow, you're welcome to just use the web link. Okay. All right. That's APA format. Some folks, I actually had a student admit to me that he was spending 2 hours a week on his PhD, and 2 hours a week is not enough. This is 12 to 15 and more, especially when you start doing your research and doing your writing, a week. So it's a lot of time. I certainly spent a lot of time getting my doctorate, and you will spend a lot of time getting your doctorate. So yeah, put the time into it. And if you can't, I understand, but don't ask, your classmates or your faculty members to compensate for the fact that you don't have time for the degree program. Okay. Don't make your life situation your faculty members' problem. Okay. So that's what it takes. And check your email daily, please. I check my Cumberland's email daily. I actually got it going to my phone. So during the course of the semester, I try to check email, us, formally, a couple times a day. So you do the same thing. Check your Cumberland's email daily. If I ask you a question, answer it right away. Immediately. I don't ask questions that require you to go off and do a lot of research. If I ask you about something, you should be able to answer it right then, right there, right now. So if I question you about something, answer my email promptly. And if I challenge you about something, answer the question. Don't, apologize and ask for mercy and look at, oh, can I do that over again? Answer the question as I pose it to you. Okay. I think I go over that in my academic writing video. ATQ, answer the question. So I also expect you to ask questions of me. Like I said, that's what I'm here for. If you're not sure that you're taking the right approach on a paper, you're not sure you're taking the right approach on a discussion question, feel free to shoot me an email. I expect you to monitor your feedback, and if you don't like what you see in my comments, my embedded comments, or the points, come back to me right away. Some folks get toward the end of a semester and maybe they got a high B and they wish they had an A and they want me to go back and look at something from earlier in the semester. No, address everything immediately. I don't go back and address something. Uh, if I issued a correction that you didn't take effect, you know what I mean? Read your feedback. It may make the difference in a subsequent assignment. Okay. Don't even try study sites. Okay. Course Hero. We see it there. I mean, you can go to them, don't use them, but look at how many papers there are from the University of Cumberland's on Course Hero. It to me, it's disgusting. I went through my whole from 2016 to 2019, went through a doctorate, wrote, I don't know how many words, pages of writing I did and reading and everything. And I never, ever, 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 never, ever went to a study site and pulled somebody else's paper up. I wrote everything absolutely from scratch. And that's what I expect. So yeah, if I mean, I will. I will invariably see the same paper coming from Course Hero, same topics. So hopefully not, though. We've done a little bit of modification to the curriculum, so hopefully we're starting fresh, fairly fresh. Yeah. So if I do ask you a question, I'm here to help you. That's the main thing, is to help you choose a topic, help you to master academic writing. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help. So don't make me feel like an adversary. If I ask you a question, um, answer it. Don't put me in the position of like some sort of, like a parent-child relationship where I'm catching you doing, something wrong with the plagiarism or whatever. Let's treat each other like what we are, and we're all working adult professionals. And I do expect that you get started each week early. I'll occasionally get questions as late as Sunday on the assignment that's due. It's too late. I may not, I may not check my email on Sunday. Sunday is a day of rest. So if you've got a question on something, get on it early in the week. I normally post the week's lecture and open up the next week's content folder on Sunday morning. So you can, as you are wrapping up the previous week, you can preview the week ahead generally on Sunday. But, like I said, Sunday's a day of rest. So get on it first thing Monday morning. And let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I may have, glossed over something in the lecture. So absolutely, like as I ask questions. Bullet number 3, ask questions. I don't get a lot of questions, and sometimes it makes me wonder if I'm just talking to myself when I'm doing these lectures. Okay, so week 1 objectives. None of these, seeing my banner down there, they're great topics, but none are needed for the week 1 discussion. So, there's articles, there's readings to do this week, but I think most working professionals that are going to get a PhD in information technology already have a basic grasp of big data in computing. If you don't, it's worth pulling up some academic articles. YouTube is great if you to get familiar with a source. It's not an academic reference. It's nothing you would ever cite in an academic work. But if you just need to get up to speed on a technical topic, there's just no end of good information out there on YouTube from reliable sources, companies and training providers and whatnot. But yeah, big data is just all about the V's. I think that's so interesting that it was first described with the 3 V's of volume, variety, and variety. Not veracity, that was the new one. Not value, that was one of the new ones. Volume, variety, and good grief. Hang on just a sec. The third of the first V's. Oh yeah, volume, variety, and velocity coming at you really fast. Yeah, and then they added, you got lots of data coming at you really quick in a lot of different formats. Is the main challenge. But then since you have this sea of data coming at you at the enterprise, I do some work with Walmart, and think about if you were working at Walmart headquarters and you were on their data insights team or their data science team. Think about the volume of transactions at all of those stores, particularly at peak hours. And that's just store data. That's just point of sale data. Then you've got, the website. You've got internal employee HR data. Who's clocked in when? Who's logged into what? To what cash register at what time? Doing how many transactions per minute, or then you've got the website. Then you got social media and people posting their sentiment, their opinions about. You've got this supply chain. It's huge global supply chain. You've got semi trucks by the thousands on the road at any given point in time. Just an enormous sea of data. Well, you can't track or um, necessarily process or make use of all that data. So you have to kind of uh, place a value. That's one of the 5 V's. And then you've got data quality issues, veracity. Veracity is just another word for the trustworthiness, the accuracy of something. So yeah, and I've seen frameworks for big data out there that include. I know I've seen a 7 V's. I think there's up to 9. So once you see a framework or a way of talking about something or looking at something, it seems like people just jump on the bandwagon and want to extend it or get their name associated with something new in that regard. You see that a lot in academic writing, people struggling to get a methodology or a framework or some sort of approach or an algorithm or whatever, get their name on it, because now you're, imagine having your name associated like Moore's law, where the price of semiconductors and memory gets cut in half as you move along, and you have a law named after you, Moore's law. How cool is that? So you see that a lot in academic writing, it seems like. So, yeah, big data, and so sometimes the volume isn't so huge, but you still have the other V's involved, so you can analyze it without using a distributed computing approach like Hadoop file system, which basically allows you to do the same operation on multiple identical data. Well, the data is not identical; it's formatted similarly, but it's different data in all these different, like a Google predictive searching kind of looks for things. Google searches spread the search among web pages metadata, that's all formatted the same, but it's different web pages. Like one cluster might search web pages that start with A through D or whatever, and so you break it up like that, and then you do the same operation, whether it's a search or a sort, a query, whatever, um, uh, against those multiple instances. So there's multiple Hadoop, Spark. There's cloud-based software as a service that does big data without even having to worry about that. Google BigQuery's got some public data sets that are enormous, and it just looks like a relational database, but it's a level of data that would likely cause problems on a traditional server down the hall. So yeah, big data. If you haven't looked into it, some of you are big data developers, so that's nothing you're even going to need to really learn about. But you don't really need it for week one. Week one's discussion is just an analytics use case. So if you read that, it's wide open. That's a really easy one. So yeah, cloud computing, same thing. If you've not looked into it at this point, getting a PhD in IT, if you've not looked into cloud computing, if you don't know just basically virtualization and the elasticity, being able to instantiate and tear down resources very quickly in the cloud, um, uh, and all of the functionality, I would recommend you take a brief overview of the tools that are available on Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, and Microsoft Azure. If you've not done any cloud, it couldn't hurt to like watch the video prep for the associate cloud solutions. The very bottom rung cloud certification for all 3 of them. It's maybe a 2 hours of video each would spin you up as to what they each offer. It's amazing and growing. There's machine learning uh, studio, big data, like I said, big queries, a big relational database. There's NoSQL as a service, um, graph database as a service, Neo4j. There's any number of things, plus just traditional web architecture. The application server, database server, web servers, um, that are available under those platforms. Um, yeah. So uh, if you haven't looked into that before, I'd highly encourage you to do it on at least one of the platforms, because once you get it on one platform, it's kind of just like the names have changed. They try, the big three try to differentiate themselves from each other with functionality, but invariably, as soon as somebody comes up with something, the other two will have a version of it. Um, so then this third objective, identifying research in Internet of Things in cloud computing, is just a little bit tacked on there. Don't like I said, you don't need that for week one. And honestly, it's a um, Internet of Things. If you haven't looked into IoT, it's the proliferation of internet addressable devices. That, in a nutshell, that's all that we're talking about. On a personal level, it's your Alexas and your Siris, personal assistants in the house. It's connected security devices, cameras, microphones, lights, smart houses, connected thermostats, fitness watches, your smartphone, your computer, your laptop, your refrigerator that has a camera inside, so you can check to see if you need to pick up milk. There's the Internet of Things is a whole study area. So that's real. Again, you're not taking these courses such that you become a technical expert on IoT implementations. I mean, come on, think about it. Or cloud computing, or big data computing. You're just you're taking the course to get you into the literature, researching these topics, not writing about them in general just as a topic, but actually conducting research projects into the Internet of Things. And does it save people money? Does it cost people money? The integrated factory is one giant IoT application. You got sensors and counters and things all over a modern factory that are recording using raw materials, and they're recording defects, and how many rejected parts have been shoved into the reject bin for people to deal with, and maintenance issues, and when it's time to change, do preventive maintenance on equipment. There's just a huge amount of data inside a connected factory. So you're not going to learn those technologies in a PhD program. You're going to learn enough about them so that you can get into the literature. Now, I'll move over to that for just a minute. Academic literature is, at the peer-reviewed journal article. The university library is your best source for full text copies. But I got to tell you guys, I use Google Scholar a whole lot, because you'll find the full text of those articles out there. Very often, not always. If it's if you're using Google Scholar and you find something that sounds interesting, but you can't get the full text, contact a librarian. I got 3 or 4 articles that were important for my dissertation through interlibrary loan, which is something only a librarian can help you with. But I use Google Scholar, um, and you can download both the article and the citation, and it takes about 3 mouse clicks. I talk about it in my EndNote demonstration. It takes about 3 mouse clicks to download the citation and the paper and add it to EndNote as part of your personal digital store of academic articles. And then whenever you need to cite that article, it's an easy mouse click away in Word. So that's the literature, getting into the literature. Now you'll see a lot of different kinds of literature on Google Scholar. You'll find the real gold nuggets out there are where people actually went in and collected data. They come up with a new algorithm and they ran, dummy data through it to figure out which algorithm was best and then report the results. Or they surveyed IT leaders and reported the results of the survey. They're collecting data and reporting the results of that data. Those are genuine research papers. Then you'll find what are called literature reviews. Pretty much every journal article has a short literature review in it. You'll write an entire chapter of your dissertation that reviews systematically the literature, the previous writing that has been done on your topic, different research projects that have been accomplished on your topic. But a literature review in itself is a systematic endeavor. So if you're really new to the PhD program, you're gonna want to get familiar with what a literature review is. There's no end of information out there from Dr. Brown, from the university library, and then just on the wider internet. What a literature review is. You'll be doing 3 of those. So there you go. Now, did I? Hang on just a sec here. Yeah. 3 literature reviews plus the big paper during the residency. Okay. Where were we? Week 1 objectives. Yeah. So yeah, IoT and cloud computing. I don't necessarily make sense. I mean, the Internet of Things, those devices are potentially communicating to the cloud and storing that data, and that data is aggregatable in the cloud. But yeah. Anyway, nothing to do with week 1's discussion. All you got to do is find a data analytics use case and tell us about it. Okay. So very important. Right away, complete the plagiarism pledge in the week 1 folder. Submit the signed pledge, not the quiz. Your signed initialed pledge. Introduce yourselves in week 1. Please more than a sentence. I kind of, I judge people by how much they're, I assign some correlation of how seriously you take this course with how much you tell us about yourself. And that you may or may not be correct, but if we get, a 10-word sentence out of you in the introduction, that to me, that that tells me about how much you're willing to put into the course. Okay. So the discussion is a data analytics use case. That's going to be simple. That's going to be easy. And there's 0 chance. I'll say that there's a non-zero chance that you'll do the same thing, but I would expect everyone to come up with a different analytics use case, because there are literally millions out there on Google Scholar. Okay. And then, review all the materials and start here. And there's like I said, there's supplemental stuff out there. I posted 2 videos above and beyond this one on academic writing and bibliographic software. There's Dr. Brown's PhD IT orientation if you're brand new to the program and this is your first course. So when you introduce yourself, tell us a little about yourself, your professional world, where you are in the program. Okay. Not just, hi, I'm Joe and I look forward to the course. Actually, come on, please introduce yourself, please. In conclusion, if you're really bored, you can read my curriculum vitae in the my instructor link. Um, uh, all the assignments and policies are in the syllabus with including due dates and everything. And remember who you're dealing with here. Zero tolerance for plagiarism. And I look forward to discussion, actual, credible, real life. It should read like human beings at work at a technical company talking about technical topics. It should not look like people trying to lecture each other on simple, basic facts of uh, our curriculum. Okay. Exclamation point. Collegial discussion. Okay, there's my email. If you have any questions, any concerns, please shoot me an email. And I look forward to interacting with you in class discussion.